Hello, world. Welcome to episode number, what are we on? 49 of the Jimmy King
49.
Show.
49 and 0.
Yep. It is prediction time again. We got NXT TakeOver Wargames 2020. I think it's the apocalypse. The year that we are in. It's coming to you from Orlando at the Capitol Wrestling Center. 4-match card, but action-packed 4 matches.
Yeah,
So
it usually is.
Let's get into this one, Rodney.
So how do you think? Do you think they'll have it? The arena or the center set up in any kind of special layout?
No,
they have some barbed wire and some sandbags.
No, I don't think. I mean, they've already got kind of the chain link, in there because of the way that they have it set up for COVID concerns already. So it already kind of plays, to the aesthetic of a war game. So I don't think they're going to change too much. I mean, you're going to have to shift some things around, obviously, because you got to fit 2 rings now instead of the 1. So, maybe the ramp's a little shorter or
just set a Jeep off to the side, set a little bunker off to the other side because it's war games. Get everybody ready.
So let's kick it off. Let's see, what are we gonna do? Let's kick it off. We'll discuss the women's war game matchup.
All right.
Got the team captained by Shotzi Blackheart. She is joined by the NXT Women's Champion Io Shirai, Ember Moon, and Rhea Ripley, taking on the team captained by Candice LeRae, and she is joined by Raquel Gonzalez, Dakota Kai, and the now heel Toni Storm. And I'm sure that they'll have Indy Hartwell, out there with them as well because she's Candice LeRae's new BFF.
Okay.
So
I think,
and I mean, I'm guessing that this week on NXT they'll have some type of singles match to determine who has the advantage.
To start out.
The men's, have already done that. We'll get into that down the road, but the women haven't had that yet. I'm guessing that'll happen this week. So we don't know which team's going to get the 1-man advantage, but I don't think a babyface team has ever gotten the advantage in any War Games match in the history of War Games. So just keep that in mind. So which way you going on this one, Rod? You going with Team Blackheart or Team LeRae?
I think Team Blackheart.
Team Blackheart.
I'm feeling Team Blackheart. I think you start out the show with with the heels with the advantage. I think they come back and they pull it off. I think the women's champion. I think Ember Moon is a strong team member. Mm-hmm. It's a stronger looking team.
Yeah, I mean it is a stronger looking team. I'll agree with you on that. This is only our second ever women's War Games match, and Rhea was the captain last year and her team won. So I don't know. I mean, are they going to go with the baby faces 2 years in a row, or do you flip? You know what I mean? To kind of give it some variety. I'm going to lean on just to mix it up a little bit. I think they're going to probably go with the heels on this one. I'm going to go with Team LeRae, and I think it'll help set things up for her, to maybe get back and challenge Io. For the title.
Okay, yeah, and I was thinking too, like, if the heels take it, there's some good rub there too. A lot of good rub there with a win over this team that this stronger looking team. Yeah. So that's a possibility.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of Candice LeRae, now we will discuss the match involving her husband, and that is the triple threat for the NXT North American Championship. Champion Leon Ruff, Damian Priest, former champion, Johnny Gargano, former 2-time champion. Like I told you, before we started filming, I'm surprised they didn't add a ladder stipulation to this to give this a little bit more juice. But triple threat, there's no DQs in triple threats, so there should be quite a bit of action in this one.
Yes.
So which way are you going on this one? Is the underdog going to come out again, or are one of the challengers going to be walking away with the title?
So I was looking at my calendar earlier.
Uh-huh.
And it's still 2020, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And would this be the last NXT event of the year? So
Yes,
possibly?
it will.
It'll
Yep.
be the
Yeah, they don't
last?
have anything scheduled for. I mean, this is going to be taking place, early December, so there's not, a lot of room. I mean, other than regular weekly shows.
Yeah, but this will be the last NXT special of 2020.
Yes.
So now I know for sure that Leon Ruff will walk away as the NXT North American champion.
Going to successfully defend his championship, according to you.
Yes.
He
will end the year as the North American champion.
I'm going to go with Johnny in this one because of the Ghostface shenanigans. I mean, you had the Ghostface interfere at Halloween Havoc to give Johnny the title over Priest, and then it was revealed that the Ghostface was Indy Hartwell. But then last week, as they're leaving the arena, Candace and Indy and Johnny, as they're pulling away in the back seat, you see another Ghostface sitting in the back seat of their car. So there's still more going on with that. So because of that, I think there'll be, some interference there because obviously, like I said, there's no DQs in triple threat matches. So I think there'll be some shenanigans that go on.
So you calling for Johnny and the Ghostface?
Johnny and the Ghostface, yeah. And Johnny becomes a 3-time North American champion. Now, whether or not, this follows the Johnny Gargano pattern of I win a title, I can never defend the title. I don't know if he's ever going to get that successful title defense, but we'll have to, wait and see. But I think he does walk out of Wargames a 3-time North American champion.
I like it.
So next up, we will discuss the strap match between the tortured artist Dexter Lumis and Cameron Grimes going to the moon.
So I lied to you.
Mm-hmm.
I know I told you Cameron Grimes early off air. After my extensive research.
Yep.
I've since changed my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I think Dexter Lumis walks away with the strap match victory.
Hey.
Looking at him, he looks a little wilder. He's a wilder.
He does.
I think he has a wilder energy, and I think the strap match really is going to play to him well.
I mean, here's the thing with this one. Is this just a normal strap match where you can use the strap, or
touch all 4 corners?
Or do you have to touch the corners? I don't know exactly what, they haven't specified. If it's just kind of a no holds barred, basic, type of match, I would agree that, Lumis probably has the edge there. But if it's the touch the 4 corners,
dragging around, the
Grimes, he's a little quicker. He's a little more, you know what I mean? Might be a little more weaselly kind of thing. So, and then they had that weird, horrors match or whatever you wanted to call it at Halloween Havoc, and Lumis came out on top of that one. Does he go over again? What are they doing there? This is a tough one.
It's a tough one. I had to switch. at the last minute.
Yeah. I'll go with. I think it's going to just be where you can utilize the strap. That's my gut's telling me. I think they would have kind of specified already if it was a touch the corners type of deal. So I'm going to agree with you on this one, and I'm going to say Dexter Lumis.
Now, because look, if they would have said a bull rope match, there wouldn't have been no question. You got to touch all 4
bull rope
corners.
match, it's a touching the corners thing. It's a different, different animal. Yeah. So, and last but not least, the men's Wargames match. We've got the Undisputed Era in their 4th consecutive Wargames match. They've been in every single one in NXT, and they are taking on the Kings of NXT, as they're calling themselves. So obviously we know the Undisputed Era is Adam Cole, Roderick Strong, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly. The Kings of NXT are Pat McAfee, Bruiserweight Pete Dunne, and the NXT Tag Team Champions of the Brit Am Brawlers, Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch.
It's another tough one. It's another tough one. I got reasons for both of these teams to win, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you got the Undisputed Era with so much experience in this particular match. Plus, just as a group, they've been together so much longer. So their chemistry is, it's organic.
Yep.
Everybody plays their role. Everybody knows their part. And so they work like a well-oiled machine. The Kings of NXT, that being said, you get these teams sometimes where you get all these different kind of pieces that haven't worked together, but somehow it clicks up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, look at the last few Dusty Classics that they've kind of done where they've just kind of thrown together two guys, and then they end up like the first one was Finn and Joe, and they won the whole thing. The last one was Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle, and they won the whole thing. So yeah, the oddball pairings can sometimes
be
together.
Be like a kind of a curveball.
Yep.
So with that being said, and I gotta pick somebody because we're running out of time. I'm gonna go with the Kings of NXT.
Kings of NXT.
The Motley Crue.
Motley Crue. I'm gonna go with the Undisputed Era in this one. Couple reasons. One, like I said, this is their fourth War Games. They haven't won a War Games match since the first one.
So kind of bookended.
They've lost the last two.
Yeah, bookended. Kind of bookended. Win.
Yep, they'll bookend it. And hopefully, and this is nothing against the faction. Hopefully, this is the last War Games with them in it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you need to get some fresh blood in there. They need to figure out ways to get some other people involved in this. It's like, every year it's kind of like, okay, who's the Undisputed Era taking on this year? Who's
they should call it Undisputed Era Games.
Yeah, Undisputed Era Games. So I think they'll kind of bookend it, and that'll write them out of the War Games picture going forward, hopefully. And the other thing too is you got that celebrity involvement with McAfee, and it doesn't make a lot of sense to me to put the celeb. You know what I mean? Like, he's not a long-term guy to be around, in the mix of things. He respects the business. He's very athletic. I think he way overperformed and surprised a ton of people in the match that he had with Cole. Remember when we did that show, I told you he was going to surprise some people.
You called
and he surprised even myself. I mean, I expected him to do well, but I didn't think he was going to even do as well as he did. He pulled out some very athletic maneuvers. I mean, that moonsault to the floor, the leap from the canvas all the way to the top rope, and backflipping over Cole, and then hitting him with it was like, holy cow. I was like, it's like he'd been doing it for 20 years.
Yeah.
So
he looked good.
So it's no knock on Pat McAfee, but like I said, he's not a full-time performer. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
So to you, it's a bigger picture, right? It's a bigger.
It's the bigger picture. It's not, picture. And looking at the people that are in charge at NXT, you got Triple H, HBK, and Road Dogg that are kind of running things there. And I think they always look at the bigger picture. What's the longevity? Where are we going with the the brand and the business, and where are these guys going to go in the future? You got to build up your actual talent and not the celeb.
Yeah. Okay, I see it, and I see it. Big picture. I see how that works. They jumpstart War Games, then they work War Games.
Yep.
Then you reward them at the end and send them off strong.
Yeah. I mean, it was really, that initial War Games was really the start of the Undisputed Era as we know it. If you remember that initial one, it was 3 teams of 3, not 2 teams of 4.
Mm-hmm.
And that one team was Roderick and the Authors of Pain. And that's when he turned on it and joined the Undisputed Era. You know what I mean? Turned it into the 4-man faction that
I remember.
That it is now. So it kind of, like I said, it's going to come full circle, I think. And like I said, hopefully, like I said, I love the faction. I think they're all great. You know what I mean?
But it's time they deserve the ability to move on.
Yeah, exactly. You know, let's not keep seeing them in the same spot every year. You know, let's give them other opportunities. You know, I don't know whether or not they go up to the main roster, if they stick around in NXT. I don't know what, you know, the vision is at this point. But like I said, I just hope that they're done with the War Games matches. Like, I just don't see what more they can do in those matches.
And you know, it's getting that way on NXT overall for them.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting that way just overall in NXT. Like, you know what I mean? They have put their stamp on their legacy there.
Yes. Hopefully, like, I'm hoping to see or something comes of some type of faction right now that seems to start to kind of be simmering, you know, there with Boa and Xia Li. And they've got the kind of the mysterious figure in the shadows that, you know, that came back, you know, over from China and is, you know, reprimanding them for not being, you know, more success, you know. So I'm thinking we might get some kind of new faction there.
And you know, then too, we may have to cleanse our palate and just go a while where because the Undisputed Era has been the energy of NXT during their time.
Mm-hmm.
It's been their era. Like, they've lived up to their name. So you may just have to cleanse your palate and go through a time where there's not as much of a focus on factions. Factions will always exist, but maybe that's not your lead story, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe you go to more singles. Maybe they go heavy with just tag team. Maybe they go back like what, you know, that was one of the original dreams, was to really invest in the tag team division. So
what I would like to see them do, like, you know, if you don't have the kind of the ready-made fact, you know, because there was a reason for War Games being, you know, created when Dusty created it, you know, back in Crockett. And there was a reason for bringing it back in NXT when they decided to do it. You know, storyline that all made sense. And if you don't kind of have that faction, you know, those factions existing,
it's hard to
you justify. You don't need. So maybe you take a year or two away from it, and then, you know, build something else up. Maybe you bring back the lethal lottery concept.
Yeah. And build some good rivalries, maybe with 4 tag teams that people really care about. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Build some real rich storylines with some tag team rivalries and have them tag teams line up.
Like I said, I loved that lethal lottery concept. You know, like, it gave you those oddball teams that you had to work well with that person and win your tag match to qualify for that battle royal to give you an opportunity to get your title. You know what I mean? So it was a great, you know, it was kind of a concept, very unique concept. It kind of combined a couple of elements, you know, like with the tag matches and the battle royal and everything. I think it'd be a great, you know, a great compliment, you know, to a Rumble weekend. Like, the NXT equivalent of a Rumble, you know what I mean? We're going to do some tag matches and then have a battle royal on a Saturday, and then maybe on Sunday you got the Royal Rumble, you know. Just spitballing, throwing it out there.
It sure sounds good to me.
Throwing it out into the ether, into the universe. See if it sticks. Good.
And, you know, a couple of things before we wrap up. This is not NXT related.
Yep.
But just general, the Tribal Chief is growing on me.
Yes.
The Tribal Chief storyline is growing on me. Or character development is growing on me.
Yeah, he's a much stronger character now. Yeah. As this, you know, kind of this arrogant heel, you know, than he was.
Who has legitimacy as a person who could fight anyways. Mm-hmm. Like, his history is one of a person that legitimately can go. Plus, now he's willing to do anything to win.
Absolutely.
It's grown.
And like everything about him right now seems to be, his promo works better. You know what I mean? He's got Heyman there, but Heyman's not his mouthpiece. Heyman accents him. He can still speak, you know, he's still speaking for himself, and he's speaking well. Whereas Heyman was the complete mouthpiece for Brock. You know what I mean? Like, Brock was like, my actions speak for me. You know what I mean? And Heyman did all the talking, and Brock just went and kicked it. You know, it's a different dynamic.
Brock's promos came off like his IQ was a little bit higher than Psycho Sid's. like not lower SIDS, but y'all might have been in the same class. You brought past that class, but SIDS, SIDS wouldn't pass even that class.
All right, so those are our predictions for TakeOver Wargames 2020. Let's see, in December, we'll have our TLC predictions.
Okay.
That card, is starting December. We don't know, nothing's announced for that yet, but we've got that will be coming in a couple of weeks. We'll do our NCAA bowl predictions. If we have any bowls to predict, who knows what's going to be going on.
It might be the shortest prediction show ever. 1 bowl.
Yeah, I mean, with the way that the NCAA season seems to be trending right now, as cases seem to be spiking and everything is kind of going crazy. I mean, there does seem to be some light at the end of the tunnel. A vaccine is on the horizon.
Yes,
but,
yes.
Whether or not it's ready and able, soon. Because here's the other thing, to take into consideration, with this is they might announce you for a bowl game. And then, the week of the bowl game or a few days before the bowl game, you have an outbreak.
Yeah, the zombies just.
I'm just saying, what happens then? If, the team that's put into a bowl game has an outbreak.
Postpone the bowl. You can't. It ain't that easy to postpone a bowl.
Right. Especially what if it's one of the playoff bowl games? What if it's it's the Rose Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, and it's like.
Yeah, to your point, it's a lot of coordination involved in those.
Absolutely,
events.
it's like I said, it's weird. Like it's a weird year. It's a crazy year. We'll have to see how things play out. Like hopefully,
we've done more time than we have remaining. I feel like with this thing, I feel like we've done more time than we have left. You know what I mean, to deal with this thing. So
yeah,
everybody stay healthy, stay happy, and stay encouraged, y'all.
Yeah. I think it's Moderna, I think today actually filed with the FDA for approval.
I heard possibly some December stuff. I'm gonna wait a minute to kind of see, make sure people don't start biting each other in the necks when they take
grow a third eye.
I'm gonna wait a minute. I'm gonna wait. Look, I'm a vaccine. I take vaccines. I'm a person that take. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna wait a little second though. Make sure dudes' lungs don't be like they're coughing up their lungs and.
Yeah, I get my flu shot every year.
Every year.
Yeah.
I do vaccines. So.
Yeah. So, but like I said, we'll just see how it all plays out. Like I said, hopefully we're able to do our bowl projections. So anything else you want to discuss or plug or talk about? I mean, there was some big fights over the weekend.
Hey, I was just gonna say, so being the boxing fan that I am, it's been a while since on a Monday and Sunday, you really had that post Mike Tyson feeling. A lot of people, this is their first time in their lives. You've had a post Mike Tyson event feeling. And it's amazing and encouraging, should be to anybody who's listening, that he's 54 years old, living the life that Mike Tyson has had to endure.
Yep.
Mike Tyson had gotten up to almost 300 pounds at one point in time. Mm-hmm. And to be 54 and to come back from all of that and to look like how he was looking, get his head off the line. I mean, head movement better than but I can think of maybe one or two heavyweights today, right now.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I think anybody that actually watched that,
yes,
like they were saying during the broadcast, people needed to temper their expectations. You had two 50-plus-year-old men, in the ring, so it wasn't going to be, the show that I think a lot of people had built up in their minds. I think they did well.
Yeah,
and I think Tyson. I mean, honestly, if I'm objectively looking at that fight, Tyson won that fight.
Of course.
For them to call that a draw.
So here's the thing. I'm thank you for bringing that up. Here's the thing, though. At this point in time, for Mike Tyson, all of this is just to raise money for charity.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not saying it's anything about his legacy or anything like that.
So going
legitimately, he won that fight.
It was already a draw before the fight. It was already a draw. That if you notice, they had to make the announcement not in the ring because California wouldn't commission them for an actual fight. You see what I'm saying? So they did the announcement up on the ramp where they took it out of the ring where it's no longer. You see what I'm saying? And they did it. But I see this. I watched enough boxing to know that Mike was pulling the headshot punches. But not trying to like land headshot punches to work. He was, but to the body, it was open season.
Oh yeah. I mean, like I said, you could see it, between every round. Jones was gasping because Mike was knocking the wind out of him.
In his body, and oh my God, today how Roy Jones' body feels today. Because Mike, a lot of people don't know. Last time, I promise I'm gonna wrap it up. Mike Tyson.
Oh, it's fine.
Mike Tyson is one of the leading entities in sports science development. For this training, he's done stem cell treatment. He's developed. There's a machine that he developed. You know the thing they hook up all the electrodes to Drago on Rocky IV.
Yeah.
So it's this machine that they hook him up to, and what they have him do a series of motions, right? And the machine can tell which muscles he's not using. So that in addition to the muscles that he is using when he does his motion, it identifies the muscles that he's not using, and then his trainers train those muscles so his overall structure is stronger.
Yeah, I think part of the draw, it was, to try and coax them into doing it again.
Yeah.
That's, I think it was kind of,
Oh yeah, well that's
a marketing ploy.
That's the reason for draws in boxing. Period. Like when it's two a good fight, it's like it increases, or two good fighters, it increases the likelihood of a draw because we can get more money on the rematch.
Yeah. So, well, how about the Nate Robinson?
So I'm gonna just say this. I'm gonna be real mature and say this. So for Nate Robinson is this. It takes a lot of guts to get in the ring. I'm gonna start there. Cause look, there's a compliment sandwich now. Just know there's a compliment sandwich coming. It takes a lot of guts to get in the ring, and I was telling Rosman, it gets lonelier by the step on fight day. You wrestled, right? So when you on wrestle day, the day of the meet, you have your crowd of peers or friends or whatever.
Yep.
Then you separate from all the kids in school and you go with just the wrestling team. Right? Yep. Then from there, you separate with just the whole wrestling team to just like the people who are gonna, like the starters for the day, go out on the floor. Yeah. And you all are sitting out there on that mat watching these guys wrestle. But when it's time for your match, you walk out there on that ring by yourself, and takes a heck of a nerve. It's a lot of points along the way where you can back out of that. Okay, so props to any man that step in that ring.
Absolutely.
And you put your life on the line in boxing and in the striking sports, because one wrong punch and that's it.
Yep.
That being said, Nate coming in there with his hands down, just gonna over.
I mean, he was just kind of flailing a few times. It was like
it was bad, and so that I think though it was hilarious. It was Glass Joe with like no life left. It was hilarious, but I think bigger picture for me, this was tremendous for boxing.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like because it did. We're talking about it right now.
Like I think but every boxing event from here, to eternity in the future needs to have Mauro Ranallo and Snoop Dogg.
Oh man, well you'll get Mauro. We have to just get Snoop.
God. Snoop Dogg was busting me up, like, especially the Tyson and Jones, when he's like, this is like the two uncles getting drunk and fighting in the backyard.
That's what it is.
Come on, Unc.
But I'm gonna tell you, Tyson, I think, is still going to get better, because a lot of what you saw with Tyson was timing.
Yep.
He hasn't been in the ring. So when dudes are like measuring distance and being able to stop a guy on the way in and catch him on the way out, like that's going to come with time. But just like
and it was like you were saying, like with only 2-minute rounds, by the time it would start to get a feel, the round was done. You know what I mean? So
that too. And I was just impressed with like really Tyson's ability to maintain muscle density. His legs.
Because here's the thing, here's the other thing too, is the last thing you lose is power. You might lose your footwork. You might lose your speed. The last thing you're going to lose is power.
George Foreman.
So
George
like that's why
Foreman.
like those body shots, like I said, I mean, I don't know if you caught it or heard or whatever. At one point, like if the referee was, said something to Roy Jones about him clenching stuff like that, he's like, "That's the only way I'm going to survive." I mean, he took one of those body shots, and he was just like,
even with those body shots, I'm thinking them body shots are like 85% body shots. Like I'm watching us boxing. That's how I peeped out early. Oh, they're pulling punches to the head. Okay, I can see. You know what I mean? Oh, okay, they're not. He's not punching through this target at all. He's not even going upstairs much.
No,
you know what I mean? So I think honestly, it's crazy as it sounds, and I'm gonna go on record here today because you're recording this. I wouldn't be surprised if Mike Tyson takes 1 or 2 more exhibitions. And I'm talking about exhibitions with guys that are increasingly able to have punch resistance and able to be more of a real fight, like Shannon Briggs, maybe Tony O'Tarver, who hasn't had the concussion that Roy Jones had, right? I wouldn't be surprised if you see Mike Tyson take a couple more of them at the age of 55 next year. Because you got to remember, Mike Tyson is a franchise champion. Any organization he goes to, he gets a title shot immediately. I wouldn't be. I'm not saying it's gonna happen. I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't. But don't be surprised if at 55 next year.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Foreman, when he made his comeback and everything like that, he still hit like a truck. You know what I mean? It's like I said, last thing he loses power.
He knocked Michael Moore out with 2 punches that looked like they had. It was just, and Michael Moore's life was just gone.
Yeah, like I said, last thing he loses power, and that's one thing. Like I said, Tyson in his prime, he was fat, but it was that power, man. Those short inside uppercuts, and boom, lights are out.
So if you look at it, and if you look at his movements still now, Mike is doing lunges with no problem. He's ducking down up on the things with it's not any old man like he's lunging and he's constantly off the line, right? Roy Jones' hands are still fast, and he couldn't find Mike Tyson's head.
Yeah, he slipped that one no look jab. Jones hit that one, and that was pretty much like the only offense that he had that fight. Like after he hit that one little no look jab, I think that like woke Tyson up, and then Tyson came.
And his defense though. He couldn't find, and what I'm saying is if you look, Roy's hands are still blazing. His feet are slow. But
I mean, like he hit that no look jab, and that kind of like woke Tyson up, and then Tyson hit him with one of those body shots, and from that point on in the fight, all Jones was doing was wrapping him up. I don't want to get none of those body shots.
I can't take another one.
Yeah. So, I mean, he was just like, because he said to the official was telling him, come on, let's get some action going. He's like, this is the only way I'm going to survive. Both of them like had respect for each other. Both of them, like I said, were treating it as the exhibition, like you said, and that's why I don't think you saw either man trying to get that big hook to the head. Neither one of them, you know what I mean? Like there were some jabs. Neither one of them were trying to do that. They both realized, we're 50 plus years old. We do not need to be taking these shots to the head.
And especially Roy.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? Because knockouts matter. Yep. Getting knocked out matters. So especially Roy. But I think like guys like, I wouldn't be surprised if I also don't think he should, him and Holyfield would be about the same as this. Holyfield's older. You see what I'm saying? So it'll be about the same as this, if that much. I don't even know if Holyfield's body can take like the punches. Because Roy's 51. And you know what I mean, bulky built nowadays. So I'll watch him again. Yeah. I want to see Jake Paul and Conor McGregor.
The only thing is, I'm just like, I'm getting old, man. These things, they happen too late for me. I'm like falling asleep. I need to start these fights earlier, man.
I'll see you a drink. It's a Crystal Light with caffeine. That's what I drink late night because I don't want no coffee. So, well, all right, Jim.
I mean, I'm a coffee drinker, but like I said, I don't want to be drinking too much coffee because then I do want to go to bed.
Yeah. Get that Crystal Light with caffeine, man. It'll give you that pep.
All right, so there you have it. There's a little discussion. We got some wrestling. We talked some football. We talked some boxing. We do it all here.
Yes.
I hope wherever you are all doing well. Take care of one another, and we will see you when we see you.